to 5-Minute Life Hacks. This is your host, Natalia Ambrosia. I'm a health coach, and each episode I give you tips and inspiration to live your best life. Today's episode, we are talking about what the hell is going on in 2022. Have we been gaslighting ourselves? Don't worry, I'll explain myself. And at the end of this episode, I'll give you a few tips you can implement today to continue living your best life. So let's get started. Well, first off, I have been stressed and sick and tired and had the most ailments this year than I've ever had. And also I felt a little bit low. And I'm not alone because I talk to a lot of people who talk to a lot of people. And it's kind of something that's been going around and people have been feeling. So I just thought I would throw it out there and put it out in the open. Have we been gaslighting ourselves? I say this because during lockdown in 2020, I read an article that predicted that the government and media would try to gaslight us into thinking or believing that COVID or lockdown wasn't as bad so that we could continue to be consumers and live the same way we were living before. And while I don't think this is exactly what is happening, I actually think that because we are human and we are adaptable, we are moving forward and not necessarily forgetting what happened in 2020, these unprecedented events and the trauma. I know some people had more trauma than others. I was fortunate enough to live in a house with 8 people with a pool in Southern California, so my actual lockdown experience wasn't too bad, and I had my loved ones close, and even those that were far, I did not experience very much COVID loss. And I know some people had it harder. They were first responders. They had direct family affected. And maybe for them currently, they are feeling differently about this. And I can imagine that it is front of mind. But nevertheless, we are an adaptable species. My thoughts currently is that while I don't think we should dwell on the past, I do think that we should become more conscious of the fact that it is influencing our current reality. We are trying to quote unquote go back to normal in 2022, whereas 2021 was a year of transitioning out of lockdown. 2022 has been a year of trying to go back to normality, but it's not feeling quite right. And we keep getting sick because our immune systems have been on lockdown for 2 years and they haven't been as exposed to other bacterias and viruses, or they may have also been exposed to COVID, and all that put together is making us a little bit more susceptible. It's also making us feel perhaps a little bit more contemplative about what we want, how we want to move forward, because it's a little bit eerie right now. Who are we? What did we learn during lockdown when life is now trying to go back to how it was before? Especially, I know we just had Black Friday and I found myself wrapped up in these sales because, I'm on social media all day for work. And I just thought to myself, have we not learned? During COVID, we were able to access a different dimension in our spirituality because the world stopped and we noticed all the things that were important to us. And then we slowly have been transitioning back into normal life. And maybe some of us have been forgetting those connections or what we learned was important to us. And maybe that disconnect is making us feel down and sick and tired because we're trying to spearhead back into normal life. This is food for thought for you. It's just sort of a thought I've been putting together, but nevertheless, I know that it is the reality for me. I did talk to one of my friends about it, and she said, I had a pretty good spiritual awakening in 2020. It was a really good year for me. I don't think that I'm gaslighting myself. And while it may not be front of mind, and that's maybe not exactly what's happening to you, the fact that it's happening to the world as an undercurrent, it does affect us. So I want you to think about this. And in the meantime, here are some tips, some things that I'm doing to just be able to move forward. The first thing I'm doing is accepting that I'm feeling sick, down, tired, and that perhaps this is just me adjusting to this new world. Even though it is similar to COVID and post-COVID, it's not exactly the same. It doesn't feel the same as before. So it's just about acceptance. Number 2 is I'm focusing on my immunity and making sure that I'm getting enough rest and water and vitamins. And number 3 is remember your why. During lockdown, we had to connect to different parts of ourselves and really discover what was important to us and how we wanted to live our lives after it was over. Try connecting to that and seeing how you can implement that, and if you're implementing that in your day-to-day life. And lastly, if you can, sit still, meditate a few minutes a day just to be present and really connect with yourself, how you're feeling, how the world is feeling. I do have a 21-day meditation challenge where I teach you to meditate 5 minutes a day, and you can use this and start today or tomorrow, and this is a tool that's really going to benefit you long term. Those are my tips. As always, I love hearing from you. What do you think about the gaslighting topic and the tips I've given you? Message me at Natalia Ambrosia on Instagram, Natalia Ambrosia Wellness on TikTok. I love hearing from you. Have an amazing day. Bye.